we fought with that car just trying to get it to run or to even do anything that would make us think that it might run. And then it slowly got better, but I do remember that first event having all the trouble with it throwing codes and whatnot, and pretty much shutting down your weekend.
Green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by Deech Works Fuel Systems. Use Apex 10 at checkout to save 10% on fueling your passion. It is the last episode of the year. We are closing out season 3 of the Blind Apex podcast. So, well, we're going to do the year-end wrap-up and sort of look into our crystal balls and see what 2026 might bring us. So, joining me, the bearded wonder, Jason. Welcome back. He's going to take over. Well, we're just going to have a conversation, honestly. But
yeah, like normal. Thanks for having me, first off.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is 3 straight years we closed out the podcast. I do think we pick the coldest day of the year every time we do it.
Yes.
We're doing it remote for the first time, though. I think the first year we were in your shed, right?
Yeah, that was miserable.
Yeah. Then you moved us into the house, into the guest room, which was more conducive.
Yeah.
And we're doing it remote because I'm waiting to see if I have COVID or not. So,
well, good luck with that. I hope that test comes back negative.
I hope it does too, but who knows? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. Where do we want to start with this?
Well, you know what? Tell me about your racing gear and everything with your car, because honestly, I haven't really been around much to hear about it, so that's kind of piqued my interest all year long, and I haven't even talked to you about it.
Yeah, so Jaime sent me a reel recently. I should see if I can find it and send it to you. But essentially, I'm not the only one that gets bit by the K-Series quirks. And there's lots of them. And I found most of them this year. So I delayed going to the track, I think, until the April Summit Point event, because we were trying to you, Darren, myself, the internet was trying to figure stuff out. And Dan, hopefully a future Honda Challenge racer, he was like, yeah, maybe you should check the speed sensor on the transmission. Well, sure enough, for those that don't know, speed sensors is magnetic, and on my original gear set in my original housing, it doesn't need a spacer. In my new gear set in my original housing, I need a spacer. Well, it didn't feel like it was messed up, but it had essentially just made contact, right? And it had shorted out that sensor. That sensor, if the computer's not reading or reads a short, it basically says, I'm not turning on. So I tried everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I tried everything, right? I bought a matching ECU, key, ignition, and fuse box, internal fuse box, because apparently that's tied into it too. I swapped all of that. Nothing. What Dan sent me worked, right? So we go to the April event and I think everything's hunky-dory, right? I'm going to get to start learning this car. And that was the event where everything started happening. I started having intermittent problems. Not only intermittent problems, but they were inconsistent. So it'd throw one code one time, throw another code another time. One of the only consistent codes was the ABS sensors. So after that event, after only getting like 4 laps every time we were going out, I replaced all the ABS sensors because it told me that it was the passenger rear, but then it was giving me, sometimes it would just give me a default ABS code, right? So sometimes it pinpointed passenger rear, sometimes it just said a sensor was bad, but it wouldn't tell me which one. So I replaced all of them. This is why I own a newer car. I can go to Honda. Yes, they're like $75 a piece. Okay. $300 for peace of mind.
You can get them.
I can get them.
Yeah,
new,
easily.
In the fancy packages with the red label, right? Like,
yeah.
But when I came back out, I was still having problems. I did a test day. What a waste. Still having problems. Couldn't figure stuff out. Decided to basically just go on vacation. miss towing to New Jersey, because why tow on the toll road just to have 4 laps and be chasing problems all the time. So I decided I was going to aim for the last Summit Point event of the year, not the last Summit Point race of the year, not event. And that's where, PB found some stuff. Mark found some stuff. I mean, people were all over the car, right? As soon as I came in, it was all hands on deck. That was the event with 22 racers, So it was good to have that kind of help. What ended up being is Loctite doesn't always lock down a K24 without balance shafts. I'll tell you that. I had motor mounts coming loose to include one of the grounds on the motor mount, the bolt for the ground. I had the ground that I use, huge crimpers for on the battery, that was loose in the lug, or in the fitting. And then the main line to the alternator was coming loose, which I know because of the shape of an 8th gen. That's how I put it back together. I double check before I install the radiator, because once that's in,
there's no room.
Impossible. Yeah, there's no room to get there. Yeah. So I double checked. I vividly remember double checking that before installing the radiator. Okay, maybe it vibrated loose on the dyno, whatever. Like it's just something that needs to be checked or solved in a permanent manner. But that weekend went pretty well, and it was literally my only weekend of the year. So, yeah, just one real weekend.
Yeah,
all year.
I didn't realize how little track time you had actually gotten. Obviously, starting out, we fought with that car just trying to get it to run, or to even do anything that would make us think that it might run. And then it slowly got better, but I do remember that first event having all the trouble with it throwing codes and whatnot, and pretty much shutting down your weekend starting off. So after that point, I kind of lost track of where you were even at. So
at home, that's where I was.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you figured some stuff out, which is amazing, because I swear that we checked every ground and every bolt on that car like 4 or 5 times. So
everyone's first response to a Honda is check the grounds. Like, yeah. We did that. But these coil on plug cars, even when my B series was coil on plug, the reason I ran that gigantic battery in there was because I didn't want, it was power hungry.
Yeah.
You know, and so these K series, if you don't have a good enough ground, if you don't have enough voltage going to all those sensors that are interconnected, like that's pretty crazy, you know? So, but
yeah. So I guess let's start talking about the podcast and how all that's going this year, and then I guess look into what's going on next year.
Okay.
So drop some stats on me.
Yeah, we could do that. I need to check my microphone is a little crazy probably, so I apologize to folks. It's working, but it might come in a little loud, so it's now like arm's length away, so we'll see. So we increased listenership by a lot. That's purely based off of all this. I can only get good stats from Spotify and Apple. So, but it took about 23 months to get my first 25,000 downloads, and the second 25,000 downloads came in 10 months. This all sort of happened while increasing the amount of overall listeners even more. Okay. So thank you guys for sharing. It's important. It's the only way this thing grows. I try to promote it every which way from Sunday, but word of mouth is the best way. So it's really the best way to do it. I was at like a 8 to 10 to 1. So I would get 8 to 10 streamers per one download. And now I'm at like a 13 to 1 ratio.
Right.
While also massively increasing the downloads. So it's good.
So
obviously, yeah, go ahead.
But when you're looking at the difference between the downloads and the streamers, you said before that how important the downloads are. Talk a little bit more about that.
So they are important as an industry standard. That's how podcasts are measured. So I'm going to jump around a little bit on my notes. But I spent the last 70 something consecutive weeks in the Apple top 100 at some point during the week after a release. Well, Apple only records downloads. So only the downloads keep me in the top 100. So, but that's how everybody's measured. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I can tell people, potential people who want to support the podcast or whatever, or you guys in general, just that I get still 5,000 to 8,000 unique listeners every week. And that's pretty big. Though there's bigger podcasts, obviously, that get 5,000 downloads. They may not get very many streamers. But in talking to friends, they're always like, oh, yeah, well, I have unlimited data, so I'm just going to, stream it. That's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm less worried about that stuff anymore.
That's good, because I know starting out, the downloads were particularly important because you were trying to work your way up that ladder a little bit. So it's good to be in a position where you're not quite as worried about it.
Yeah, I think I'm in a good position. Downloads are still important because it lends legitimacy to the podcast. So that's one of the reasons I was really driving for it early on, is to get established. Now I feel like I'm established and a known quantity. But at the same time, numbers are numbers. And as long as I'm ranked somewhere where I can see it, and other people can see it, I'm not worried about it as much. I'm COVID negative, by the way. That came through.
No, excellent. That's a win.
Yeah, right. But so early on, I was able to land some pretty big guests considering I was just starting. But 3 years in, 150 something episodes in, it still lends legitimacy. The streak of keeping going, the amount of downloads, being on charts, all that stuff counts, right? I think it was this year. I don't think I did it last year. It was this year. I applied to be a certified NASCAR alternative media source. So I'm on the list for NASCAR in case one of the drivers, there's something about they have to do a certain amount of alternative media every year. Yeah, I'm on that list.
Yeah, they give them points or something for doing that kind of stuff. I don't know exactly how that works, but just so everybody knows, that's something they've been trying to promote to get the sport out there. So it helps out podcasts like you.
Right.
Just because you have a chance of getting somebody like that on your podcast.
Yeah, and I have a chance, which is cool. I'm down, right? But also, I had to be established enough to get it.
Right.
And I applied, and it took several weeks. And I'm assuming it got to somebody's desk, and they had to dig, through the charts and see if I was really established. So, yeah, it's sort of important. So it all just lends legitimacy. I'm still trying to nail down time to talk to the retired F1 driver that I hinted at last year. It just hasn't worked out. My season was a little crazy. Their commitments are a little crazy. But I was like, even 15 minutes, just tell me. I'll take the whole day off work to do 15 minutes, So
we'll see. I was going to ask what it's been like the last year or so with trying to find new guests and what it's like talking to guests that are coming back for, their second or third podcast and what that's like compared to when you started.
I can tell you that actually repeating podcasts with people is pretty good. I think those, as far as I'm concerned, have better quality because I have a better relationship, So it's just my screen won't get any bigger and I have to keep going farther back. It's just one of those things where you can build rapport and you can have more frank and candid conversations and, I think it's more genuine,
Yeah.
But I sometimes I have to play the foil in the conversation. I have to, be there to be contradictory in certain ways just to see if we can flush out the whole thought. So, but it's easier with people that I know.
Do you have any problem trying to, I guess, find new things to talk about with people when they come back the second or third time? Or is it just something that it just naturally flows out of your last conversation?
Sometimes. Well, I mean, they only come back on when they have something new to talk about. At least I hope. I think these are the only real true repeats. So, just covering stats and where I want to go and what I want to do,
Yeah.
So, we try not to repeat too much stuff, but other people have, other people have perspectives. So it's good to get multiple people's perspectives. But as far as like getting guests and stuff, I mean, I think it's seasonal. You know, when people are on vacation, it's real hard. Holidays, like now, this will be the last one for the year. All the other ones are booked. But, you know, fortunately, I made it through this season pretty easily. So it hasn't been so easy in the past. But, you know, if anybody has topics that they want me to cover or talk about, like, just shoot me a DM on Instagram, you know. Shameless plug. This is going to go out and there's going to be 72 hours left once this is released before the 2025 giveaway is closed. So that giveaway is on Instagram specifically. So, but
yeah. Well, talking about the giveaway, why don't you share what the giveaway is?
Okay. It is a promotional opportunity, right? So I'm trying to, you know, expand the podcast. I have way more listeners than people on Instagram. So whatever that means, but Instagram is the easiest way to market. So we're trying to, you know, reduce the number of slow weeks, flatline the amount of strong weeks, you know, as far as listenership, capture more of the niche market share. So I think they're talking somewhere between 200 and 250,000 people is sort of the consensus of people who go to the racetrack. They either race or do time trials or HPDE or something like that. And with my numbers, I have roughly 3 to 5%, which it's good, but it's not like Rogan's at like 16% of the global population or over 16%. And there's some sort of marketing gig about that 16%. So always trying to grow. So one big way was to have Fire Laps, Race Setup Pro, and Leadfoot Racing team up with me to do this giveaway. So December 31st, 2025 at midnight, that's when the giveaway closes. The podcast, along with our unofficial safety sponsor of the whole podcast, OG Racing, they will be shipping out to the winner, grand prize winner, an SA 2025 Sparco Stealth RF carbon helmet. So that's a pretty big deal. I wanted to do a helmet because this was the first year of the new, you know, lineup coming out. So that was kind of big for me. Second place is going to get a Fire Link from Fire Laps, a year of analytics for them from Fire Laps, and a Race Setup Pro plan. And then third place is Bring Your Own Data. So Fire Laps Analytics. Excuse me. Fire Laps Analytics with your own data, which you can import your own data to them and they'll use it. Race Setup Pro starter plan, which is plenty. It covers 2 track weekends a month, right? And then Leadfoot Racing is doing the sponsorship deck. They have an ebook, so that tells you how to get sponsors and stuff, support your program. It's kind of a big deal. It's around $3,000 worth of gear that's going out. And if you haven't listened to the Fire Laps episode or the Race Setup Pro episode, you really should. I really should know which ones those are, but I don't. Not off the top of my head. But after I talked to them, I realized that the combination of these two tools would be so powerful. And it was powerful enough, like, I didn't ask Fire Laps for a Fire Link. I bought a Fire Link. So, you know, we talked about my car. Part of the off season, get your crimpers ready because we still have some wiring to do, is my aim dash with the Smarty Cam, and then the Fire Link system, which essentially is going to steal piggyback data. And then, but it's an automatic upload process. So it's going to turn my aim. Well, it currently, this iteration is going to be its own data, but it's going to take data and automatically upload it and turn it essentially into a really fancy Garmin. And they're going to have a Firelink Pro, which will piggyback the OBD2 data. So everything that's coming across the CAN bus is going to get uploaded next. So that's super powerful. And they have way more options than the Garmin does as far as data manipulation, overlays, and stuff like that. So it'll be pretty cool. And then because I've only had that one race weekend on these Toyo R's, I think Race Setup Pro is really going to help me figure that out. And what I'm hoping it really does is help me mitigate the reduction in lap time due to temperature. Because our cars are a little finicky, you know. If it gets hot, they slow down. They're going to slow down, but I don't do a lot of changes. So I'm hoping it provides me some feedback that allows me to minimize the amount of reduction in time weather has.
Yeah, that'll definitely be good if you can get some solid data that can help you with all of that.
Well, and it's going to force me to log it. I sort of quit logging it once I figured out my pressures. So I know about how much pressures or how much PSI they go up when I heat cycle them. And so, yeah, I stopped. And this will sort of help me get back into the rhythm of doing my worksheets and stuff. So, and it's been helpful. I've been able to mess with Race Setup Pro and provide them some feedback on some things. So it's been good to get in early, and it'll take feedback from anybody. So if you get into it and you think it could use an update in some manner, you know, let them know. So, but yeah, the giveaway is to grow the podcast, but it's also a reason for me to give back. It's a way for me to give back, you know. This is my selfish personal passion project that I share, right? But at the same time, I've learned so much, you know, and I just want to give back to the community that supports me. It's this cycle, right? Where the listenership grows, I get more exposure to better or different guests, and then we learn more, you know, and I feel, especially in the last year, that I've learned a lot more than I ever thought I was going to doing this. So I just wanted to make sure we could give back. So that's why the first year, I think I gave away. In the first year, I gave away a pyrometer and a tire pressure gauge, but that wasn't the year-end giveaway. The year-end giveaway was a skateboard deck with the logo on it. Okay. It was just some novelty, right?
Yeah.
And then the next year, I worked a little bit with OG, and we got like the tool bag and the helmet bag, and we did the pyrometer and the gauge again, tire gauge again, and then a torque wrench. Well, we're now giving away carbon helmets and, you know, thousands plus dollars worth of software to help you, you know, get faster. So we made a big leap.
Yeah, those are some things that can really make a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so. I'm trying to get the car and myself to be where I want to be and not settle for being where I am. So I think that's pretty important. But yeah.
All right. What else do you have planned for the car outside of basically rewiring the whole thing, apparently?
We're not rewiring the whole thing where I need to find power for the dash, power for the Smarty Cam, and power for the Firelink, and maybe power for the live stream camera, just in case.
Yeah. Okay,
But
that doesn't sound too bad.
no, and we're removing the Garmin, so the Garmin is already sold actually. So we have that line probably to power something, or a couple of somethings. So, but I'm leaving the car alone. Messing with the car slowed me down, right? It took a year away from me, essentially. The ground on the battery is because stuff was beaten and banging around in transit in the trunk, that battery ground issue is going to happen probably no matter what. But, I don't know. I don't really need anything. I procured a couple extra rims, wheels, so I can potentially order some more tires, but the goal is seat time and hopefully go to nationals at Sebring. So that's it.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, the car felt fast enough, so why add more to it? The driver's definitely holding it back. So,
and I think if you have the opportunity to go to a track like Sebring, you have to take it.
I mean, I do, but yeah, I definitely have the opportunity to go to Sebring. It's just whether I can swing it or the car behaves. Yeah, I'm trying to do the April Sebring event as a warm up, but I'm sorry, everybody. I'm clicking around and you can hear it. I'm not recording on my normal laptop. I'm recording on my Windows laptop, and for whatever reason, it keeps wanting to sell me McAfee and Windows, and this is why I don't like Windows products. But I haven't got this new microphone, which hopefully doesn't sound like garbage, to work with my Mac yet. So, yeah. And it started taking up the whole screen, one of my screens anyway. So, sorry. Yeah, I want to do Sebring. It's not close, right? But
No.
it's iconic. It's like,
Yeah.
Is it the oldest track in the United States road course? Probably, I think. I don't know. But it's iconic, right? Old World War II, World War I air base converted into race car track, So I want to go. I want to put myself up against whoever shows up, and I want to give it a shot. I figure I'm 46. I need to reevaluate things at 50, so I don't ruin my retirement, but I could still race. So I need to get a nationals under my belt as a driver if I'm ever going to take it seriously past this season. So,
Yeah. So I was talking to your wife the other day while we were out running, and she brought up Sebring, and I said that was kind of a bucket list track, and then she was like, "Well, I've never asked Con what his bucket list tracks are, so name a couple of those in the United States, something that you could reasonably or realistically go to."
Mid Ohio, Lime Rock, Road America, Road
That's a good
Atlanta.
one.
Those are all realistic. She and I still want to do one lap, in a car we don't actually own right now. So I don't know what we would take on one lap, but something quirky, fast, but streetable. So I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you got time.
I look at RX-8s, NC Miatas, stuff like that, basically. Yeah. But those are all the iconic stuff is like from iRacing or Gran Turismo, all that stuff that I could probably go to. Those are the ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So what do you got in mind for the podcast in 2026?
Well,
2026?
Yeah, 2026. Yeah. So it'll be season 4 of the podcast. So for those of you who don't listen to the end of a podcast, in season 3, I started doing a segment. I stole it from Jaime. And so that's what we started doing. And I put it out actually today, the day we're recording. Tires is the number one racer excuse. Whether it was heat cycled out, I didn't do my tire pressures right, blah, blah. Tires is the number one racer excuse. That's the feedback. We close everything with this segment. And that was the segment for 2025. 2026 has a whole new segment. So I'm not going to let it out of the bag. You have to listen to episode 1 of season 4. And yeah, but as the podcast grows, I think we'll get better guests and better partners, if that makes sense. I'm hearing an echo. That's weird. Oh, well. I want to continue trying to bring good information. I want better giveaways, better engagement. It is a self-feeding circle. Okay. The podcast pricing is going up. It used to be $20 a month to deal with podcasting. And now my cost is somewhere in the almost $100 a month to produce the podcast. But I want to continue to do high quality stuff. So I won't go on the free, right? Like I'm sorting out this $300 microphone. I was on a $60 microphone. If I find the $60 one's better, I'm going back to the $60 one, right? It's yeah. I missed PRI this year, which is pretty. I'm down on that, right? The government was shut down. I didn't want to commit funds to go, and I think I missed. We're literally recording days after it's over, right? A day after, and there was a lot of missed opportunities for building relationships. Shaking hands, handing out stickers and business cards and trying to get guests on and potential partners on board and things like that. So Sylvia's told me that we're definitely doing it in 2026. But this year I sort of gently opened the whole buy me a coffee thing. You're just going to hear more about it in 2026. Excuse me. I got a bunch of ideas. I'm not trying to get rich. It's not trust me, the podcasting will not make me rich. There's only so much money to go around, and Joe Rogan has most of it apparently. But to do this, it's going to take listeners. It's going to take partners. It's going to take, people willing to be engaged and not just listen, but we'll see. This year we were able to help Ryan Bradfield out a little when he crashed and then had that big cleanup bill at NJMP. That's the normal now. Okay. Big. If you mess something up, a bill is going to come, and you hope it's just one tire bail, right? So $400 a tire bail or something like that. I'd like to have a slush fund to be able to help folks out that have these kinds of issues, right? I'd like to sponsor a couple of iRacing leagues because honestly, 2025 with me being not driving, on the real racetrack, iRacing was the only way I stayed sharp. And the times I've been able to get on, with the other guys I race with, it's a good time. We have a lot of fun. I think it would be a good way to get the community engaged. So I'd like to sponsor a couple of those. I'd like to put together even like a track cross or sponsor the college track cross because we need to get new blood into our sport, or even maybe try to put together a test day or rent out Shenandoah at Summit Point and then maybe work with partners so people can see product and then, see how some people come off the track and then do tire pressures and how you take temperatures and all that stuff, and just sort of expand the education and maybe get into some community hands-on stuff. But, I have grand plans for this little podcast, and it's really just to have fun and teach people and help people learn and help myself learn and get all of us exposed to different things that are out there in the market that we may not have found yet. So, yeah. But,
yeah, that networking aspect of it and being able to learn from other people and see what other people have to offer and different partners and that kind of thing. That sounds like a really good idea. If you could put something together that was, low pressure, like a test day where you just kind of go out there and learn and also get some track time.
Yeah. Share the track with each other, see what other people are doing, you get feedback from other people. I think it would just be a good look. We did player haters at Rockingham. I went down just because the podcast was a, partial sponsor of the event. And it was such a good event. They put on such a great event that I think we need more of it. Racing is serious. It has its place, but you can still learn a lot if you apply yourself correctly in some of these casual, relaxed events, So,
yeah.
But, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, sometimes during a race weekend, you're so focused on how fast you're going, you don't actually get to learn anything because you're inside your own head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a grind. It can be a grind. The more your car is broken, the more likely it's a grind. That's what I can tell you. But also, it doesn't have to be broken. It can not be handling well. Because I remember my first year with the car. It was it's burning tires down. I can't deal with this, I struggled. And part of it was me learning to get over it. Part of it was also fixing it, I had to mentally work on myself not being that wound up about the car not handling, but also I needed to get the car where it needed to be fast enough, So there was a balance there. The whole work on yourself, work on the car I live that every day. So,
yeah. I was going to say, tell me more about how your iRacing and your sim rig has gone.
It hasn't collected as much dust as I thought it was. So I had a goal that I put out on Garage Heroes and training to do 4 hours a week. I don't remember if it was raw or an average. We're going to have to go with an average because I definitely didn't take it with me on vacation for 2 weeks. So I would have missed those 2 weeks. But I bet by June of this year, I probably averaged 8 hours a week by June. I mean, if I was allowed, my wife calls it playing, as you well know.
Yes.
I'm playing video games. But if you do it constructive, you can definitely play, right? I play when I'm racing with the guys, right? Late at night. But when it's Sunday morning, Saturday afternoon, that's not playtime. That's
it's a training tool.
It's definitely training, and you have to do specific things. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ugh. I'm disabling this push button mute. I need to start clicking it. Anyway, trying to save you guys from half my coughing. It was when I came out and the car was struggling at the beginning of the year, I thought that the sim didn't do anything for me. But what I found out in the last weekend was the sim did a lot for me. What was holding me back was the mental hesitation of that internal clock counting down 4 laps for when the car was going to start potentially having problems. Sometimes it was 4, sometimes it was 6, sometimes it was 2. I never knew. So I was going out hesitant, and it showed in my lap times. But once I got the car to work and I finished my first race, and then I got into my second race, and then by the third race, all bets were off and I was flying. And most of the year, I thought the sim didn't keep me sharp because my lap times in the car, any lap I took wasn't fast enough. But it wasn't that. It was trusting the car. But that's one thing I've learned this year is I have to be confident in the car. Not to have all the problems solved, but like just to run. If I know it's just going to run, I will start beating the snot out of it and get what I need out of it.
To say, yeah. I could see where that would be an issue if you just waiting for something to happen, and it's always going to happen at the worst time possible anyway, if it does happen. So yeah, I couldn't imagine what that was like.
It was well, I was confused at the time, but I was trying to balance being fast. I was trying to balance staying calm enough to be aware of what was going on in the car to help troubleshoot it later. All of that takes away bandwidth from you driving fast. So there was no way to drive it fast. No, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was preoccupied with solving the problem. So once I know the problem's solved, I can get my tunnel vision on and just race. So I think that'll be important. But, this year I want to take it pretty easy, but maybe next off season I don't. I've been daydreaming about Penske's or Motons or MCS's, I don't know. But the other thing is I don't want to ruin the magic. The car feels good, but Jackie swears that I won't ruin the magic. So if I get it, if I do it right.
You don't know unless you try.
Yeah, don't do that. It'll definitely be one of those things where like I'll remove them from the car, put something much more expensive on the car, and if I don't like it, I will be putting back the old set.
Yeah.
But
hey, whatever works.
Yeah, maybe after they get actually serviced for once. I'm pretty sure they're sludgy inside, but I never know. But
could be.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, it's not on my notes because it's all been happening over the last couple of days. The podcast already has people asking about participating in the 2026 giveaway. That's the kind of traction that downloads and sharing can get us. And it could be pretty darn big. Pretty big. So I can't wait. I figure we'll have those conversations in next year, September, October sometime. Get that all lined up. But it's for the first time I don't come asking. People, have started coming to me. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting feedback from people pretty influential in grassroots motorsports, saying how good the podcast is. Sometimes I think they are all on drugs, but whatever. I don't know how to take a compliment. That's about how it goes. So we're just going to keep pushing ahead. We're going to keep trying to improve the content, improve the quality of the podcast, and get better information out there. So, that's what I want to do.
I guess that about wraps it up.
Well, I appreciate you manning the question side of life and being my guest host today. So we don't have a lot.
Much. I was going to say there wasn't much to it.
Well, I mean, it's simple, but now you know what it's like being me. There's a lot more legwork and a lot more work than people realize, but this is the thing. We know each other, right? So it's a little more comfortable. Well, there is a lot less research that goes into this type of conversation. So, but we only have, to power 3 things, maybe 4 things this winter. So,
hey, that'll work.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Jason.
Appreciate you having me.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.